All right. Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name's Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr. as we celebrate the Thursday when Charles Henderson High Troy does battle with a team from Georgia, Early County, Georgia. So it's going to be a great football game.
Let me ask you now, you've been everywhere. Where is Early County, Georgia?
That's down in Early County, Georgia. No,
I have no idea what part of the state.
I know it is southwest Georgia, and I've known several players Troy has had over the years from there.
What city is in Early County, Georgia?
I'm trying to tell you. I can't right off my tongue. I can't tell you, but I will before the end of the show. I guarantee you. Want to mention Brantley High School today. Turn that toward Brantley so we can see that big B right there. Of course, Brantley continues to win, and I wanted to get their helmet up there. Rice and I are going to if it's still a plan,
if my wife okays it, we'll
going to the
Ayrton and
Geneva County game, so we can see that great player play against a good team.
Yep, he is the Herschel Walker of the Wiregrass for this couple of years.
It's amazing now, but don't get me wrong. A lot of great players have come out of Hartford, Alabama before, and I played with one guy that Bill Russell, about as mean and about as tough as any football player I've ever played with. He was from Hartford, but you look at Tom Bryan, played a great player at Auburn. You remember him? And of course, he's a State Farm insurance agent now in Auburn.
Good for him. Yeah, that's right.
And he was there with.
He must have played in the
He was there when Blaney was there. He was there with Larry Blaney.
Late 60s.
Yeah, and then of course they had Early Win. The Hall of Fame pitcher came from Hartford, and.
Where did Saran Stacy? He came from Geneva.
He came from Geneva High School, not Geneva County High School.
He was really good.
Yeah, he really was. And another great one was went to Alabama, Dixie Howell.
Ooh, yeah.
Dixie Howell came out of Hartford, Alabama, a little old peanut picking town.
I want to say that Dixie.
Back then they were picking cotton, and those cotton balls were getting eat up, you know. You know what? What were they? Those cotton
boll weevils.
Boll weevils. Yeah.
We made a monument to the boll weevil.
Good morning, Wiley, and good morning, Nick, wherever you are, man. I can see Nick, getting it right now. I hope he tells the truth today. I hope Mike is not off his rocker like he was yesterday, but sometimes Mike gets sort of off his rocker. What was that I said sort of profane? What was it?
He called in one morning a couple of weeks ago.
But I know. But yesterday, what did I say that was so profane till the hell?
Yeah, every day you
till
say
hell freezes over or whatever. Yeah.
I tell you, if you listen to the whole show for an hour and a half, you're going to hear one thing that's profane.
One profane, yes.
Well, or profound is the word I'm looking for. Maybe not.
Of course, Charles Henderson High School of Troy, go Trojan. Let me get a hit right there. So I always like a hit right there. Charles Henderson High School of Troy does battle.
This is the crown of the helmet. Did you watch the Ole Miss Louisville game where they had 4 players charged with targeting?
Yeah, get your helmet up there like this. These helmets weigh so much. All right, now if you do this,
that's targeting.
That's targeting, and they want you to do this.
Yeah.
But actually, they want you to hit the shoulder or whatever. But
it's a tough call because replay doesn't tell you how fast this is happening, and players do not have a chance to realign their attack position on tackles that fast. They're just trying to get a guy down.
Yeah.
So I agree with all the people that are saying if you're going to charge a penalty for targeting, fine, but don't kick the players out of the rest of the game.
Okay.
Unless it's really
our
flagrant.
telephone number is at 670-0052. 670-0052. It'll bring it right in here to our podium here. And if you're out there, call in and talk to us this morning.
I want to go back to Dixie Howell. And you can correct me. I
Played
think
at
Dixie. I think
Alabama.
he played with Coach Bryant and Don Hudson on the Rose Bowl team
Yeah.
that won a national championship.
Johnny Mack Brown played on those teams too, didn't he?
He was like 10 years before.
Oh, he was before, okay.
He was on the first Rose Bowl team that really established Alabama as a national football power.
He's the one that Bear Bryant played on. Well, no.
Dixie, I think
Dixie
Coach Bryant
Howell.
played with Coach Bryant, but Don Hudson's who I want to talk about because I have been reading a series in The Athletic about the 100 greatest NFL players of all time.
Yeah, and he was one of them.
Well, he was the highest ranked former Alabama player. He was listed, I think, number 13 as best NFL players of all time.
That is
Don
something.
Hudson.
Yeah.
They hadn't forgotten him. He played in the 30s and early 40s. But he set receiving records that some of them still stand back when they were hardly throwing the football.
Yeah.
He was the first superstar wide receiver in the NFL.
Of course, Johnny Mack Brown was the movie star. Later on, went out to California as a football player, and then somebody noticed him, and then they brought him back and let him do a few show business things, and he became a leading cowboy.
You know, a lot of people got screen tests when they were younger. You know, when Coach Bryant went out to the Rose Bowl when Alabama and Don Hudson beat Washington, I think, Coach Bryant got a screen test.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He's a handsome dude now. He eats from out here.
But Johnny Mack Brown got one, and it took.
Yeah. Of course, we got a lot to talk about. Games tonight feature some pro teams. Is that right?
Well,
Are the pros still playing? Wait a minute. They start tonight or next week? Maybe next week. What?
Who's
Tonight?
playing, Steve?
Yeah, Tampa Bay and Dallas. That'll be a good game. Of course, your man starts another season. Do you think he can do it again?
I'm not betting against the man. You know, talk about that list of 100 greatest NFL players of all time. Who do you think is number one?
He is.
He is. The man. Who Cornelius Griffin played against in college.
Yeah.
He's still playing. Cornelius Griffin's
He's
been
still
retired.
reaching for it.
Cornelius has been retired for 15 years, and the man is still playing.
He's still reaching for him. You know, I saw the man play as a college player in the Orange Bowl
Against Cornelius Griffin.
And Alabama missed the extra point, and they got beat.
Yep. That was when you saw that the man might be pretty good, and you wonder. You know, he was split. He wasn't even a full-time starter at Michigan. I think he rotated with some guy, and then he had a great game in the Orange Bowl, beat Alabama, and but he was still only drafted in the 6th round.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. You know, exactly. He was not considered a sure bet. You know, by any means. Of course, we got a lot of college and high school games. Of course, like we mentioned Charles Henderson tonight in the stadium, 6 o'clock kickoff, and we'll be bringing it to you live on Troy Cable. We'll hit down and.
Guten Morgen.
Are you with us, sir?
Yeah, morning.
Where are you calling from, please?
Graydon Beach, Florida.
Graydon Beach, Florida. Why on earth would somebody from Graydon Beach, Florida, want to call this rinky-dink show?
Here's a question for him. Now, Michael Amos is a sports expert. We all agree with that.
Yeah, but he got a computer sitting in front of him. That's what happened. Yeah, that's the reason. Is that right, Mike?
It's in his head, too.
I know.
All right, so I know you weren't watching the show in the first couple of minutes. The Athletic ranked the 100 best NFL players of all time. Here's 2 questions for you, Michael. Who did they rank as the number 1 all-time best NFL player? And what former Alabama or Auburn player is the highest ranked on their list?
I would say number 1 overall is Brady.
That's right. The man we call
Bo
him the
Jackson's got to be second, wouldn't he, when you say Bo Jackson?
Man. No, he's not on the list.
I would say the top Auburn player of all time.
No, from Alabama or Auburn. You know,
Alabama,
and it's based on NFL careers now.
Alabama would probably be Hannah.
Second, good guess. He should have been. He was 25th.
So what? Derek Thomas was number 1.
No, he wasn't even on the list.
Oh boy.
What? Oh, Julio.
Julio's not on there.
No.
I'll name the
What?
three.
What?
Auburn, I guess would be. Oh man.
Are we talking about college or pro?
NFL. Auburn. There's not one Auburn player on the list
All right. Tucker Fraser.
Not one Auburn player in the top 100 players.
of all time on the NFL.
Yeah.
The number one Alabama player. If you thought about it,
DeMarcus Ware should be on there probably.
you know, maybe he should, but he's not. We can talk about who they left off, but the number one Alabama player on the list is Don Hudson.
Oh yeah. Well, that's way
Played for
way
the Green
back.
Bay
Yeah.
Packers.
Yeah, that's way back. But
So which college team had the most guys on there? Notre Dame.
USC, I think.
yeah.
There were a couple, maybe USC and maybe Notre Dame, but USC I know had 5. Alabama had 3. They were Don Hudson, who I think was 13th, John Hanna, who I think was 25th, which is way too low. He was the best offensive lineman in the history of the NFL.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No question about it.
And then Bart Starr was on the list. So there were 3. They left off Derek Thomas, which you could have made a case for. And they also left off Dwight Stevenson, which I would say they had a couple of centers, including the great one for the Steelers, Webster, I think. But, you know, I watched Dwight Stevenson for his 7 years. If there was a better center, I want to see him.
He's a great one. Of
Well,
course,
Julio's on pace to break all of Jerry Rice's records.
Jerry Rice was number 3, I think,
Yeah.
or he was way up there.
on a very poor team at Atlanta. I would sure like to see Atlanta do better this year. Of course, like we mentioned before, we've got a host of college games to at least look at. Our Pickett show is tomorrow, featuring the great Jason Gregory, who seems like he can pick games like nobody else, and he's going to be coming over from Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks on the bypass, and he's got another super sale going on right now. We'll be telling you about that today. Of course, the Picketts are in. Jason won this week's Pickett game, but Mike Amos and Bryce were very close to second, and I was in shooting distance, so we're going to get him this week. Of course, something I wanted to mention was the pro football gets started, and I know a lot of people are excited about it, and you got Dallas going against number 1 world champion Tampa Bay. I don't see them having any trouble at all. Tampa Bay going to run roughshod on them, don't you think?
I don't know.
I know.
All these NFL games come down to a touchdown or a field goal, and it'll come down to a couple of bogus referee pass interference calls.
Tampa Bay's 8.5, over under 51.5.
Well, I didn't get all those, but you know.
8.5 line pros.
Oh, I know it. It sure is. 8.5. What you do, you take away. You find some way to take a half point away at least.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you know, some other big games to look at this week.
The one I'm interested in is Mac Jones versus Tua Tagovailoa. I think New England opens up with the Miami Dolphins, so you got the back-to-back Alabama quarterbacks, both under the age of 24, who are playing each other.
Yeah. Tucker Killcrease, good morning. Give us a ring this morning. Tucker Killcrease, the great Brantley quarterback. He's going to be wearing that helmet right there. And he's quite a player. Hope that, you know, right now he's committed to Troy, but no telling what's going to happen. I sure hope that he comes to Troy.
Well, if Troy can beat Liberty Saturday, that'll all to influence him.
Wouldn't you like to hear one day? And that quarterback, Tucker Killcrease, 6'4.5", 314 from Brantley, Alabama.
214. He wouldn't be.
Yeah, I would say he could weigh 214.
Yeah. Okay.
What did I say?
Maybe,
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. What?
Maybe you're right about COVID cases dropping Mobile County in a COVID hotspot a month ago. Sees 34% drop in patients.
Yeah,
Well, you know.
Its cases are dropping pretty significantly. But what I'm struck by is just how much higher the cases are this August and September compared to last August or September. It's 4 or 5 times higher this year.
Yeah, and
everybody's talking about all the packed stadiums, throughout the country. It's going to be a COVID spreader. Of course, Fauci came out and felt like it was a bad idea, but it doesn't like you're going to see that this year at stadiums. It looks like everybody's going to be 100% capacity.
I know, but I wonder what the data is on the people that went there. How many new cases we got by them going there?
There won't be any or much. I did some research. I kept trying to find out how many people that tested positive were asymptomatic, that had no symptoms, which with athletes is almost all of them, or very mild symptoms. And I asked the SEC, that question, and they wouldn't give me an answer. But I did have another question. I said, did you have any super spreader events at games last year? They had 20% capacity, so there were still 20,000 fans at a lot of these games. And if you count the people that were outside the stadium, there would have been 30 or 40,000. And the director of communications for the SEC did tell me that no, we had no super spreader events traced to any of our ball games.
How about the holiday though? What was the results of it? Yeah, it'll take a little while, I'm sure.
Well, the people were gathered, but
there were a lot of people at the beach, wasn't it, Mike?
Oh yeah, we got packed. There's no doubt about it. We go down early on Saturday morning. We go to Western Lake, where it flows to the Gulf of Mexico, or the Gulf of Mexico flows into Western Lake. We usually have a spot for sure, and man, we barely even got a spot. We got out there at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
It's the outside events are safe. I mean, the virus, it's very rare for the virus to spread outside. So if it's tight, enclosed spaces, and most people catch it from their house, from people you're very close to. Spending a lot of time with. It makes common sense.
I tell you, a safe place to be was that Ole Miss Louisville game. There was nobody there.
You're right.
They were spaced out, weren't they?
Now, I'm about to think, Mike, they did that on purpose. Don't you think?
No, I just think it was on a Monday night.
You mean that it was just that much lack of interest? Is that right?
I mean, people couldn't travel.
Yeah.
A lot of people had work the next day. I guess they just didn't go.
Yeah. Of course, Alabama still, I'm sure, heartbroken over the loss of their star linebacker. And Mike, what do you think that's going to have an effect on Alabama at all, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to definitely hurt depth. I mean, Christopher Allen, 5th year at University of Alabama, I mean, he really came on as a pass rusher, and you got Anderson, who it looks like the next coming of Derek Thomas on the other end. I mean, definitely not good for Alabama. I mean, they got some good 5 stars to fill his spot, but I would definitely hope that maybe he can recover for the playoffs.
Yeah, he was coming on. He was getting better and better. He got hurt on the sack. He hadn't made a great play and a fluke play. We talked about it yesterday. He sacked the Miami quarterback.
That's right.
That's not how he gets hurt, tackling the quarterback. Some big Miami offensive lineman stepped on his foot right after he sacked the quarterback, and that's how he broke the foot of.
And that's really not anything you can do about it, no question about it. Of course, we've got a lot of high school games, and we'll get back to the college in a minute, but a few local high school games. Brantley plays at McKenzie, and McKenzie was pretty good last year. I don't know how good they are this year, but Brantley doesn't get much competition, and they need some competition, more competition. But they play this week, and Highland Home plays host to Central Coosa. They shouldn't have any problems.
Don't you think if Pike LeBlanc went to the public school league, that Brantley and Pike LeBlanc would
That's
be
right.
a rivalry?
That would be a big rivalry. I'd love to see them play this year. That'd be a good game.
I'd see them playing baseball.
The key game, the big game, of course, we've already mentioned, is that Arrington, and boy, Rice, we need to go to this game. Arrington at home to Geneva County, and their great running back, Henderson, Mike. How good is Henderson?
Well, I mean, Emmanuel Henderson's already committed to the University of Alabama. That's a pretty good sign.
Well, he was
running back.
Is he one of the top running backs
he's
in the
either
nation?
number one or number two, depending on what rating service you look at. He's either the number one or number two rated running back in America.
Emmanuel,
which is kind of hard to believe from a 2A school.
and that tailback Emmanuel Henderson. I love that.
You would imagine he goes up against very big defensive lines and big defenses at a 2A school.
But my favorite announcement of all times at that tailback, Ronaldo Kincaid Pennington. You reckon any of those guys could outrun? Do you think Emmanuel Henderson could outrun Kincaid Pennington?
I think they're both 4'3" guys, probably.
Yeah. You know, the great Kincaid Pennington, ladies and gentlemen, came out of Troy about, how many years ago? 10, 15 years ago? No, a lot longer than that.
Dad, I'm 45 years old.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Kincaid was a track guy, too.
Kincaid was my age, but I think he was a year younger in the classroom. But, Kincaid played 26 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Kincaid, I bet y'all can tell me this. He won the 100-meter dash in the 100-meter dash in the state track meet. I can think of nobody else from Charles Henderson that has won the 100-meter dash and I think his time was better than all the other classifications.
I don't
so
think.
on the track, he was the fastest guy in the state of Alabama.
There's no question about it. Let me tell you this, and we're going to get on the topic of how great a player was. Just ask some people from Elba and from Opp and that had to play against him. He gained 300 yards twice, 2 times 1 year and the next year after at Elba, same way at Opp. He ran for well over 200 yards or 300 yards. Rushed for 300 yards.
Was famous. I'm talking about running backs from the Wiregrass. Kincaid comes to mind. Don, you know who else comes to mind? Don Horsted from Elba was like this guy.
Yeah, he was really good. Yeah,
he went to Alabama. He never really did a whole lot at Alabama.
You're
but
right.
In high school, he was average 10 yards a carry.
Him and how about there was a guy named Elder. I want to say his name was Elder. He played for Stanhope Elmore. You remember him?
Andrew Gilder.
Andrew Gilder was a great running back.
We beat him twice in the state championship year.
Yeah, that's right.
He was a sophomore then, though, but he was big then.
The team that won in '80 didn't duck anybody. That was a tough schedule they had to play in.
I got to play against Stanhope Elmore both games. We beat them so bad.
I mean, Pike County had Stephen Coleman.
Oh yeah, quite a good player. Now I want to say this: he either had 104 touchdowns for his career or 108, one or the other.
He was Mr. Football in Alabama.
Yeah, and he was a great one.
Yeah, he's a legend. Good. I'm glad you mentioned Nuco Coleman.
No question about it. You call him Nuco?
That was his nickname, Nuco.
See, I didn't know that after all these years, you know. Yeah. But of course, we're going to go over a few of these high school games. Then we're going to get into college games. And we're going to go over and look at what a deal they got. They give you the betting line and then the over and under. You can't beat that, can you?
There was a running back from Opp we played in that state championship year named Tim Jesse that went on and
That's right.
He played at Auburn.
Bud Casey just raved over him, and he loved him as a player. Jesse was a good player.
There was a running back for Greenville named Tommy Powell that became an all-SEC safety at Auburn. You know what my claim to fame as a football player is, Mike?
What?
In a junior high game in 8th grade, I tackled Tommy Powell.
Tommy Powell, yeah.
And I want to show you what I'm lucky to be here, because he got the toss sweep. I was a cornerback.
Yeah.
Running out, and there was nobody between me and him into our sidelines. And I said, "Oh God!" And so I have to come up and Powell and our helmets.
Yeah, you should not have dug your head like that.
I know.
You're right.
God was looking out for me.
Yeah.
He knocked me cuckoo. I played the rest of the game without my.
And didn't know where you were. Is that right?
It was after the game. I took off my helmet, and Greenville has black helmets.
Yeah.
And I had a big old black.
We used to do that. We used to look at our helmets after the game, and I was bad about butting my head too. And you can see the different colors. The red was Andalusian, the purple was up in Pike County, and you could see the colors, different colors on the helmets.
The only reason I got up is because it was right on our sidelines, and everybody was going, "Ooh, yeah, way to go!" And so I couldn't act like I was hurt, but I didn't know where I was for a quarter. And then later, also after the game, I said, "Well, I tackled him." And then somebody said, "No, well, Charles Bradshaw came over there and helped on the play too." Our star outside linebacker.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, some great ones. I'll tell you this: I was sitting there eating my breakfast at Bird's yesterday, and I had cracked eggs. Now, cracked eggs means they use a real egg and they crack it and they scramble it right in front of you. Well, I had cracked eggs with hot grits. I had delicious crisp bacon, and I had hard toast. Now, not soft toast. Toast, if it's soft, it's bread. But toast that's hard is toast. So I had toast, and I had jelly, and I had a hot cup of coffee and a glass of water, and I was sitting there eating breakfast. And one of the all-time greats at Charles Henderson High School in Troy, Alabama, was Richard Bassett. Now, let me tell you something about him, and I'll tell you what a heartbreaking senior year he had. The biggest rival is Opp, coming right off the chute, and they were playing Opp in the stadium. The first play of the game, Richard Bassett went off right tackle, gained 7, 8, maybe 9 yards on the play, and he tore his knee up. And he went down, he tore his knee up, and did not come back for a single game the rest of the year.
Yep.
Well, he ended up going in the game. He was Alabama's #1 wishbone fullback guy. Shorty White was in charge of it. He was down at almost every one of Richard Bassett's games, and I'm sure he was ready to go. No disrespect with Ozark's fullback. But yeah, Ellis Beck. No, but let me tell you, and anybody, Ellis Beck would tell you, anybody would tell you that Richard Bassett was the best fullback in this part of the country, and but by him being injured, Alabama moved away from him, signed Ellis Beck, and Ellis Beck played at Alabama. I would have loved to have seen Richard Bassett play. But, Beck was a good player.
Think of all the athletes that you really never know because they had an injury. And a knee injury is a few people can come back from it. But most people that have a bad knee injury are never going to be the same.
And back then, they didn't know a lot about knee surgery or didn't do a very good job with knee surgery. And but Richard went on and played at Troy and had a good college career, but no telling what we were cheated. We were the fans. We were cheated when Richard Bassett went down. But he had a running back in the same backfield named Ricky Huner. And Ricky Huner, I think, still holds the record.
You had both of them in the same backfield.
I want to say he rushed for 1,300 yards his senior year at Charles Henderson.
Your friend Rusty Gibson was really good too, wasn't
he? Yeah, but my friend Sonny Williford was better than him. As good as Rusty Gibson was, and he was really good. And war number 44. Number 33 was the best that we've ever seen at Charles Henderson. When I played with Sonny Williford. He could fly, and he was strong, and he had great balance. You're talking about, like old Musso used to have the great balance. Well, Sonny Williford, you better hit him with both of you and lock your arms because he's going to bounce off and put that hand down and maybe go all the way.
I'll tell you, talk about Sinclair Pennington, how fast he was.
Yeah.
There was only one Charles Henderson player I can think of that could come close to his speed. Maybe Darby. I remember him. He was good. But a guy named Alex White.
Real fan.
He played tailback, and he was a great center fielder in baseball that actually signed with LSU. He was super fast as well.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of these teams have great players. And this.
So wait a minute, this kid signed with LSU out of Charles Henderson?
Yes.
Who did?
Alex White.
I don't remember that. Hey, wait a minute. I don't remember
he never
that.
played.
Was Skip Bertman the coach then?
Well, whoever the coach was in the mid-'80s or the early '80s, But he never played at LSU. He didn't get in school or something.
Yeah.
But he had a scholarship offer from LSU.
This is why history is what's so important. Is this?
That's a lot of people never always forget that Brian Meadows signed with Skip Burton.
Yeah, that's right.
LSU was winning all those national championships at the time, and no telling how the championships Brian would have won if he'd gone to LSU.
Mike, there's a picture of Ann Love in the Messenger this morning. You know who Ann Love was, don't you?
I stood over Ann Love's grave one time.
Yeah.
I made the whole class.
Ann Love was the founder of Troy, Alabama, and thank goodness for it. And I just wanted to throw that out at you this morning.
She couldn't read or write, but she ran a saloon and hotel.
Is that what she did?
Yes, she is the number one pioneer. She started the Methodist Church, I think, and she is the great pioneer in early Troy history, even before it was Troy.
Exactly right. Well, let's get into it a little bit today. Again, we've got some big high school games, but of course the college games also. But the Geneva County Daleville game features their new coach, Coach Tucker. Is a good coach there. Geneva and Dale County 4A game, and another couple of games. The Strawn and Ashford in our area. We've got also Daleville against New Brockton and Opp against Providence. So there's going to be some good games in high school.
Kenny Keith's team's playing Opp.
Oh yeah, and Kenny Keith's team went down to Slocum. Boy, Slocum must be really good this year, and. But a lot of good games. Of course, Enterprise. And this game might be on TV.
Kenny Keith would have been the cornerback that was defending Andrew Gilder and Tim Jesse and Don Horsted.
Enterprise and Davidson of Mobile get at it, and Enterprise playing at home on that new big carpet, beautiful carpet, and I'm sure everybody would love to have it because. How many coaches hate to line off the football field? They worked all week and said, oh, God, who's going to line off the field? Joe, Jim, what are you going to do?
Cut the grass.
And a lot of those guys just can't seem to get it straight. Have you ever seen a wavy lines before? Let's go to our lines right here, and I believe it's going to be Will Matthews or Max Howell.
Hold on.
Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. Will Matthews.
Will Matthews. Well, I was hoping you'd call, Will. I was wanting to give them a report on how you did last week. What about it, Will?
I can't even remember what 10 I gave you last week.
Well, I can sure give them to you.
Yeah.
Of course, Will. You took Ohio State, and that
was a push.
Yeah, that was a push on your grade sheet. Northwestern, just like me, you missed out on Northwestern over Michigan State. Michigan State looked like world beaters there.
Yeah. They look good, yeah.
And the other one, Notre Dame and Florida State, everybody lost that one. I can't believe it.
He got Penn State over Wisconsin, though.
I know, but can you believe how the guy threw for a lot of yardage, but the times that they needed effort out of that quarterback, he was not there. I promise you.
Yeah.
All right, and
got
also
Alabama.
No, but also you had Iowa, and you took Indiana over Iowa. You were wrong there.
Yeah.
Alabama and Miami, you were a winner there. You took Alabama. LSU and UCLA, you were just like me. You lost that one, and what are we gonna do with that guy down there? He's proven to me that he's not very good coach.
Well, if they have a losing record, they'll fire him.
Yeah. All right. Now you also had that Georgia, and you took Georgia in one, and you had them over in one. Did you put that together?
Under. I went under.
Oh, you went under instead of over.
That was a good pick. Both of them were right.
Yeah, well, all right. And then Ole Miss, you took them over, and I kept, from the beginning, I said, no way they're going to go over 75. But, they came close to doing it.
They're one score away.
Came close. Yeah, they came close.
And then North Carolina, a lot of people missed this, too, over Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech you play at that stadium. That is what is Lane Stadium, but it might be the hardest stadium to win at in
I
college
saw
football.
3 stadiums that were real. The fans were really impressive. They turned out and got into the game. Virginia Tech, Wisconsin's fans are fantastic in the Penn State game.
Yeah.
And Florida State against Notre Dame, their fans were really into the game.
Well, they're going to white out when they go to Penn State. It was voted last year the toughest place to play. What?
Penn State's going to be a whiteout against Auburn at night.
Oh yeah, that's going to be quite a game when that rolls around.
All my picks from the NBC this week.
All right.
And I'm on my way to court.
I got one.
Pittsburgh is a slight favorite against Tennessee on the road at Tennessee. And everybody is on Pittsburgh this week. I don't know why, but I think Tennessee's gonna pull the upset.
All right, now I've got that line that's being
3. I've looked at it.
3.
The quarterback in Pittsburgh's a 3-year starter.
All right, now
Pittsburgh is favored by 3 at Knoxville.
All right, I like that too, Will. I like
So Will
that.
is taking the 3 points in Tennessee.
I'm taking 3 points.
All right, here we go.
Florida is 28-point favorites or something like that, maybe 30-point favorites. Against South Florida, I think they will beat them to death.
Do they?
UAB's getting 25 at Georgia.
Wait a minute, I'm trying to find Florida. Did y'all find Florida for me?
That's about right.
I know, but we
They're
don't.
playing South Florida.
Florida's 28.5, I think.
Oh gosh, were they playing at South Florida?
South Florida has gotten bad in a hurry.
All right, South Florida.
They'll kill them. UAB is getting 25 at Georgia, and I like the 25.
I do too.
UAB plus 25.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
That line originally was 28.
All right, okay.
Texas is giving Arkansas 7 at Arkansas. I like Texas, and I think they will beat them pretty good.
Yeah. The line on that game now. Listen, the line on that game is just 7.5.
Yeah.
And
I like Texas.
all right, Texas Texas at Arkansas.
Yeah. Old Southwest Conference rival.
NC State's playing Mississippi State in Starkville.
Yes.
They're only giving up 2 points. I want NC State to win that one.
I like your picks, Will.
All right, wait a minute. And where are they playing that game? At Starks at Starkville, yeah.
And my best one of the week is Kentucky against Missouri, and they're giving up 5 points. I think Kentucky beats them by 14 to 20.
And that line is 5.5, and they're playing at
Kentucky.
Missouri.
I think Kentucky's really good.
I do too.
They're playing at Missouri?
Yeah, playing at Missouri.
What is the Troy Liberty line?
The Troy Liberty line is 4.5.
5.
I've got it at 4.5, Mike. I got it at 4.5.
Liberty by 5.
4.5.
Yeah.
It's gone to 4.5. And who do you like over there?
I like Liberty. I just can't believe it's that low.
Okay, Kentucky. Let's see. At Missouri. And you like Liberty at Troy, minus the 4.5.
That's some pretty good games.
That line's moved more than any line out there. And the over/under is 61.
Some people must have watched Troy against Southern. Southern, so it's hard to tell, but a SWAC team, but Troy looked impressive.
All right,
to me.
all right. Let me run through this because I missed one. All right, Pittsburgh at Tennessee. You took Tennessee and the points for 3. All right, South Florida at Florida. You get 28 in the points. Is that right? 28.
I went to Florida. Yeah.
You know how many points? Let's see. We got it somewhere.
I think we said 28 and a half.
Yeah, I got it right here. 28.5. 28.5. Okay, you took UAB at Georgia, and what was that line?
25.
All right, that's good. All right. Texas at Arkansas, and you said 7.5. That's a good line. North Carolina State at Mississippi State, and that is a what is that line on that?
2.
2. All right, 2. And you is that Mississippi State in 2? Okay. North Carolina State in 2. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Real quickly, Kentucky. You're taking them at Missouri.
Yeah, 4.5.
4.5. Is that Kentucky 4.5?
Yeah.
All right.
Kentucky's favorite 4.5.
Okay, and finally, Liberty at Troy. Liberty is a 4.5 point favorite. Troy is so that's the deal. That sounds pretty good. Any others that you can remember?
That's the only ones I've looked at.
Yeah. You know, I was yeah, those look pretty good, and you know, this early in the year, but you know, really like a team right now, like Kentucky is standing out. You know, to be a pretty good football team. Yeah, this Texas Arkansas game, I think, is going to fool a lot of people. They're going to think that Arkansas is back, but Texas, I think, will roll over Arkansas. Don't you think?
I really like that coach in Texas. He's a good coach.
Yeah.
But I like the coach at Arkansas. Hugh Fountain's brother is on his staff, and I think Coach Fountain said his son is.
Yeah, that's a graduate. Yeah, he's an analyst. His son is an analyst. That's what I was told.
But Arkansas is they got a little fight in them all of a sudden.
Yeah. No question about it. And of course, we look down. You know, a lot of teams take off the second week. You know, have you ever noticed that?
Or have a letdown?
Yeah. Well, you know, just to look at over how they did the week before, and you know, get the team back ready and ready to go.
They have a lot of people have an open week.
So it's not as many games as usual. But it's going to be a lot of fun. The guys, it's going to be a lot of fun.
You know, I'm thinking about it. Arkansas, there was a lot of build-up before the Texas and Louisiana game, of all things. Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah.
And Texas kind of coasted and covered easily, and so Sark got off to a great start. They might be, you know, that Arkansas has been pointing towards this game in the off-season. I'm going to say upset alert. Upset alert, Arkansas.
You know, there are two other games that I was looking at. One of them was Michigan playing at Washington. Let me tell you, Michigan's a 6.5 point favorite. You know, Washington preseason was supposed to be really, really good, and then they got beat this past week, and they got to be mad. I think Washington's going to beat Michigan.
Good. You might be right there.
That's going to be quite a game, and you know, that was one that I was looking at a little bit, and some other games of interest, of course. You know, you look at
Auburn and Alabama State.
Auburn and
Alabama State, upset alert.
They did not even line the game. I don't believe that it did not line the game.
If they did have a line, and they will on Saturday. They'll be
Hey, Mike,
yeah.
the Washington, Michigan game is in Ann Arbor.
No, it doesn't show it on this being in Ann Arbor. See, look here, I got Capitals right here. Somebody needs to find that out. That would be a big difference.
It's in Ann Arbor.
I'll look into it.
All right, you know, I've got big letters saying Washington.
I won't take Michael's word over anybody.
You know, I tell you another team that might look for a comeback is North Carolina playing at Georgia State. The line's 25.5. I would think Georgia State would play under the with the points would be good. Wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm. They can't be as bad as they were supposed to be good, and then they got blown out.
But they played, and see,
Watson's playing in the Big House.
All right, well, look at, but you know, you can see it though here as a capital letters. It's saying that, so somebody messed up. But that would make a lot of difference in that game, so leave it alone. But that was one we were looking at there.
Michigan has one dynamic playmaker, a wide receiver and kick returner, and he blew out his knee. We're talking about knee injuries, gone for the season. So
Well,
tough break for Michigan.
Let me tell you, last week's game, over-under in the Florida State, was it Florida State or the Ole Miss game, over-under was 74 and a half or something like that. And you wondered, how could anybody score so many points? But look here, Memphis and Arkansas State, Mike. The over/under is 65 and a half. These two guys alone are liable to score 65 points. What do you think? Arkansas State and
Memphis.
And
Well,
Memphis.
it depends if Butch Jones starts Hatcher at quarterback, I guess.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Surely he will after last week. I pointed out that Arkansas State apparently has a transfer quarterback from Florida State. That
Do they really?
Butch Jones started over Hatcher, who had co-started for 2 years and done great. Arkansas State falls behind, and then he inserts Hatcher, who used to be at Alabama. And Hatcher, I looked up his stats, 12 for 12 for 160 yards and like 3 touchdowns.
Now, let me tell you this. After you come back from the Troy game and you still want to watch some football, the Troy game's a 6 o'clock kickoff, but it'll last probably till 9:30 or 10 o'clock. But
later than that.
well, but listen to this. Listen to this, what you could come on home to, Michael. Believe it. Utah playing at home to BYU. Utah and BYU.
The Holy War.
That's right, and they've got, and it's a tight line here too. They took 6.5 is the line in Utah, and then the other game that you could look forward to is USC, the University of Southern California, playing Stanford. Of course, Stanford got off to a bad start, but then Southern Cal is a 17.5 point favorite. When can you remember that Southern Cal would be that?
Wouldn't it be interesting if Southern Cal is back and UCLA is good? They've been down, but boy, we all know UCLA looks pretty darn good, and then USC was supposed to have a good year, so it's possible.
Yeah, you're right.
Mike, I remember a year Southern Cal was favored over Stanford by 43 points.
Yeah. Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But of course, those are the big rivals out west, and
I remember that game too. That might be the one where the biggest underdog pulled the upset.
Yeah, Harbaugh was the coach at Stanford then.
I tell you another game that you might want to take a look at is Miami coming off the Alabama loss, playing Appalachian State, and I tell you, the Appalachian State that I've seen in the last few years is physical, and I think they're physical enough to play with Miami. I really do. So watch that one closely, and
I'll tell you, you talk about crowds. They'll play, and I think they play in the Dolphins Stadium now, but there'll be 30,000 fans. Miami does not support their. That's a 70,000 seat stadium, and it'll be half empty.
Yeah, exactly, and some of the Boston College.
Does anybody give Oregon any chance to upset Ohio State?
Yeah, me too. But what is that line?
But Vegas definitely doesn't think that's the case. The line started at 9.5. It's now at 14.5.
Boy, I tell you, Oregon's. I'd almost take the points there.
Mm-hmm. You would think that coach will have his team ready to play Ohio State. This is their one chance to show that they belong on the national stage.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one that is a lock because Army is good. Don't bet against Army. But Army is a 6.5 point favorite at Western Kentucky. I would think Army would beat Western Kentucky about as bad as they wanted to.
Army must be. I thought Georgia State, they had everybody coming back and they weren't bad last year, and then the Army just beats them by 30 points.
Army's the home team.
Are they the home team now? Again, that's they. You know, when you're looking at this thing, the capital letter is supposed to be the home team.
This line was 3.5. It's now going to 6.5.
Yeah. Okay.
Mike, are you going to have to teach your daddy how to figure out who?
No, I know how to figure it out. Now you know how to.
Dad can't look at scores and odds like I'm on right now.
Yeah, but see, but this is what the betting line is,
Dad's going by a newspaper that might be.
The newspaper.
No, it's today's paper.
Well, you look at the bottom team when they show the team. The bottom team
right.
always.
No, what you look at is the one that's capitalized is the home team normally. The one that's capitalized is the home team. It is. It's true.
Yeah, that's wrong, and I'm looking at it. It's got the favorite on
I've
the
been
left
looking at these sheets all my
underdog
life.
on the right, and no.
Yeah. Now.
But it's all messed up.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it is, but it's gonna be.
I listened to a guy on the radio yesterday, and he said, "Take Ball State against Penn State." He said Ball State's got a really good team coming back.
They had a good team last year. I know that with a great quarterback. What is it?
That line's 22.5. Penn State at home.
Oh, I would jump all over that.
Ball
You're right.
State.
You're right.
Where is Ball State?
And then
No. You know, the famous David Letterman was from Ball State.
That's right. Yeah, here it is right here. Ball State.
Ball State. What a name.
Well, it's better than Beulah, isn't it? All right, here we go. Penn State I've got them at 22.5 over Ball State. I bet you that one goes down. I bet you it continues to go down. But listen, the biggest game of the year we haven't even talked about is Iowa and Iowa State. I think you ought to be forced to give us a line and a bet on that one.
I like the home team, Iowa State.
Iowa State, and again.
Iowa was real good against Indiana.
Yeah,
they struggled against Northern Iowa.
Yeah, that game day is going to be here, so everybody needs to know that game day is going to be at Ames, Iowa, and I've been there.
I know you have. I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys who is terrible was Vanderbilt. They got beat 23-3 by East Tennessee State.
Yeah.
and they're playing Colorado State on the road, and they're only giving up. Colorado State's only giving up 7.
Yeah.
So Colorado State must be horrible.
Yeah.
They just got beat by South Dakota State at 1AA power by 20 points at home.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you want a tight football game, who would you take in the Iowa State game? That is going to be something.
You know, I've researched both teams.
I
did my due diligence with your football magazines, Mike.
I mean, not a lot, but they're still.
Iowa State's everybody's picked to be a dark horse national championship contender.
Yeah,
And then they weren't impressive at all against the 1AA team last week. But Iowa, you know, they beat the flop.
Good.
Yeah, they beat the flop out of somebody in their first game. And then you look at how they finished the year last year. I think they ran off 6 straight wins. And you look at the margins. They were blowing out everybody they played, and they have an excellent defense.
Well, I'll just say this.
I'm leaning towards Iowa.
And it's hard for me to realize this, that Iowa is getting 4.5. You know, I would have thought this would have been a picket, you know, and because both of them have good teams. Iowa's got the great quarterback now, and the young coach everybody talks about.
Iowa State's supposed to have the good quarterback.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I was saying, the Iowa State. Did I say Iowa State? But I bet, all right.
And Iowa State has the hot coach that when every opening comes up at a big program, that he's going to be the first name mentioned. Mike,
I'll tell you another one that you bet.
Anybody out there that wants to get back at their band, play tonight on Fox 1 or State.
We can't hear you, Mike. We can't hear you.
I said, if you want to get back at your guy late at night, 10 p.m. on Fox Sports 1, Oregon State will be hosting Hawaii.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Oregon State's 11-point favorite against Hawaii.
I'll tell you another game to watch is Buffalo against Nebraska. Buffalo's getting 13.5, and Nebraska, I don't know if they can score 13 points, you know. Nebraska, and then Buffalo had a good football team. Isn't that right, Mike?
Last year they were good.
Well, they lost their coach. The coach took the Kansas job.
Yeah. But he's.
They had the running back that ran for 400 yards in one game last year. I remember that.
But of course.
If you'd have coached at Buffalo or Kansas, where would you coach?
Well,
Mike, I think I'd quit.
well, you get more money. Believe it or not, I hate to say this, you get a lot more money if you went to Kansas.
Yeah, so Kansas. There you go.
they pay their coach over $2 million a year.
I'll go to Kansas too.
They never asked Skip Lindsey how bad it got that he took the offensive coordinator job at Kansas after he left Auburn to go coach for Les Miles.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
I wonder where Les Miles lives. Does he still live in Baton Rouge?
I don't know. That's a weird dude.
Hey, you know what? When I think of Les Miles, I think of that holder flipping it over his head without looking. Hey, you remember when they used to do that? The holder snap back to the holder, and he'd flip it over his right shoulder to the running back. Nobody even saw it. He was just a blind pass, and he won a couple of games that way.
I got some Nebraska anecdote I'll share. Nebraska has an amazing record of like 50 years of sold out stadiums.
Yeah, that's right.
They have sold out that stadium 50 years in a row, I think. Well, last week they were not going to sell out the stadium. They had 2,000 tickets left, and some boosters came up and bought the 2,000 tickets at the last minute.
Did they really?
And gave them to kids.
Yeah.
And so that's how Nebraska kept their string of sellouts intact.
Yeah.
It holds 87,000, so it's not like a small stadium they're filling up.
Well, you talk about a loyal fan base that they have sold out every single game for approximately 50 years. That is amazing.
Well, you're sitting next to a guy that's been to 3 Nebraska games, and you're talking to a guy that's been to 2 Nebraska games.
Yeah,
Their fans are really good, aren't they?
And they're hot dogs before the game. Now we're talking about 10 o'clock in the morning. The unreal thing. Let's get into this in a minute. Why do these teams like Ohio State and those teams play so early in the morning? Why? I've heard that they don't have lights. A lot of them don't have lights. Can you believe that?
But Mike, they're playing at noon. They're on Eastern time.
Yeah, but that's still awfully early. Why would they want prime time? At night.
Well, they're getting paid to be on the early game on TV for one reason.
Maybe that's it.
Oh, I've got a question for y'all. Do you know what the N stands for on the Nebraska helmet?
I thought it was Nebraska, but go ahead.
I have no idea.
Knowledge.
Knowledge, okay. Oh gosh. Well, I was.
Good one, guys. I gotta go work.
Hey, thank you, my friend. Look forward to talking with you next week. And of course, that's Will Matthews from the Matthews Law Firm. Looking for a great attorney. He's a good one, no question about it. I'm still looking at some of these games, and it's fun to look at them. Rutgers, let me tell you this now. Rutgers against Syracuse? Against Syracuse.
I know they put it on
Rutgers, Rutgers got a
Temple
good team.
might be one of the worst teams in America, too.
This line is 1.5 over Syracuse. I've got them playing, Syracuse playing at home, Mike. What do you think?
I'll have to do it and find it.
But Rutgers has a real good football team this year. Their coach came back after being gone for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, he got him the prominence the first time he was there. Then he left, and they just sunk back to where Rutgers has always been, and now it looks like he's going to do it again.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's kind of like Kansas State's coach. Remember, he built Kansas State into a pretty good football team. Then he quit, retired.
That old man
they brought him back, and they got back to being a pretty good football team.
Exactly right. Of course, the polls out, and Alabama, of course, is number 1, followed by Georgia.
Rutgers will be at Syracuse.
At Syracuse.
Syracuse has fallen hard in the last year or two.
but
10 games 2 years ago.
yeah, but they won big last week. They won a big game last week. But
you know, reading my Phil Steele magazine, I pick up on things that some people don't pick up on. I think, but Rutgers is a really big school. It has a large enrollment. It is the State University of New Jersey.
So, and then of course North Carolina State going up against Mississippi State. This will be a good football game. Right now, North Carolina State is playing real good. They're coached by one. A lot of people think they're coached one of the best in the country. I think
Dave Doran.
Yeah, I think they're going to North Carolina State's going to beat Mississippi State.
They would have been playing in Troy last year.
Sure would have. Of course, the Georgia UAB game still is at 24.5. I really believe that UAB is going to play them tougher than that, a lot tougher than that, with their defense. Now, I could be wrong. Y'all threw all these.
Georgia has some hurt players from the Clemson game, and they got 3 or 4 guys that are out with COVID, so that helps UAB.
I think
and they're going to have a huge letdown. If I tell you, if UAB comes back and puts it on, I mean, if Georgia puts it on UAB after, you know, the letdown effect with these injuries and COVID cases, that would be impressive on Kirby's part.
You know, right now, Washington, preseason, Phil Steele had them as the biggest surprise team. That they would do well. But you know, if you could get Michigan under 7 points, I would believe that'd be a pretty good deal. Because they've got they're going to be much better this year. Let's say that.
I had Michigan and Texas as two. You can bet long shots to win a national championship, and I didn't pick Michigan. One of my national championship long shot bets was Texas, and then the other really long shot was Central Florida and Gus Malzahn.
Yes. This show, of course, is brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass, and of course they've got another great deal where you can get for $4 you can get 4 months off before you have to make a payment. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
4 months for $4 you get. You get 4 months without having to make a payment.
They come up with some creative.
This is on new and used cars. On used cars. What now?
You want to take a Milo's tea break?
We're going to take a Milo's tea break right now. We'll be back. I tell you what.
We're still on there.
Oh yeah, exactly.
What were you getting ready to say? Something that was you shouldn't say? No.
No.
The stuff we say off the air is.
We know Michael said take a tea break, and that's what we'll do.
We gave a free ad to Milo's.
Yes. We'll be back in just a moment. Of course, we appreciate all of our sponsors and.
Welcome to ESPN College Football. This is going to be wild. Run it.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than